So, you've had a career at FedEx lasting more than 30 years.
Yeah.
You're only its second CEO. You succeeded the founder, Fred Smith, just a few years ago, 2022. You're based in Memphis, Tennessee, but FedEx likes to say that you connect 99% of the world's GDP. So, pretty appropriate guest for the World Economy Summit. Thank you. You're moving, I believe, 16 million packages a day?
Yes.
Almost $2 trillion worth of goods a year.
Yes.
Easy time to do that?
Well, thank you again for having me on this conference, and good to see you again, Andrew. But yes, I think the networks that we have built over the last 52 years, the physical networks that we have built, is really substantial. And you just said it, we connect 99% of the world's commerce. You can take a package from any one part of the world to get it to any other part of the world in a small amount of time. That's what we got. When we talk about telephone networks, everyone gets it, moving bits and bytes. But it's somehow difficult for moving atoms as a whole different thing, and that's what we have built over the 52 years. And there are only 2 or 3 companies who can do that. So as the world changes and the supply chain patterns evolve, the fact that we have a scaled global network stands us in good stead, because these patterns are going to now change in ways that haven't done so in the last few years, at least. And so we'll have a catbird seat on how these supply chains evolve. We are literally a referendum on global supply chains for high-value trade.
You have this unique lens on the global economy. You are this great global bellwether. So can you give us a snapshot before we dive into the bigger conversation on innovation and transformation at FedEx, of what are you actually seeing at the macro level right now? What's changing?
Well, I would talk about 3 things. One is at the overall demand level, it's something we have to watch very, very carefully, because things are changing by the minute. And so it's very difficult to predict at this point, but we will watch the overall demand very carefully as you see the global patterns shift. And because of the fact that we have a scaled global network, and as the supply chains evolve, the fact that our network is already connected stands us in good stead. For example, I was in our headquarters of Latin America just last week or so, and in 27 countries in the region are seeing inbound traffic going up. We don't have to do anything. We're already there. So we are here, there, and everywhere as the traffic patterns evolve. The scaled infrastructure is very helpful. The second part of it is operational. And our team has done a remarkable job in getting ready to deal with the increasing operational complexities as some of these regulations change. And the need of the hour is advanced calculus, and a lot of people can do basic math. We can do advanced calculus. The other part of it is that just by the virtue of our doing business, from every country to every other country for every commodity, we have the classification information. That's what we needed to do over the years. And the value of those insights, the clearance platform that now we are building, is now raised significantly.
Is that actively becoming more of a business?
Absolutely. Right. It is, and a lot of customers are now working with us because it is now increasingly a requirement. So I think that's, those are the things that we are seeing, and it's changing and evolving every single day. But our teams have done a remarkable job, especially building on the things that we have, that we have already, the foundation has been laid. That's been very helpful.
So just to dig in on those operational complexities you mentioned, what is the specific tariff impact on FedEx right now? What do you see?
Yeah, that's why on the overall demand side, we'll manage through as we see. These are changing by the minute. So far, things are okay, but I can't tell you what happens next week.
Okay, but you're not seeing some goods held up that would otherwise be moving through the network?
Our system is working fine right now.
Okay, yeah. Right. So look, in this 30-plus year career you've had at FedEx, you've been through a few operational complexities, let's say, the pandemic, obviously, first and foremost. Can you put today's disruption into context, based on what you've seen the network go through over those years? Is this something of a different order, or is it actually in the same vein?
Well, I think, if you think about it, when in the pandemic you had this visual of hundreds of ships outside the Los Angeles port, and that's how the supply chains became a household word, so to speak. And I think obviously that's not what's going to happen now. I mean, I think the question is going to be, whether the infrastructure is available to now actually physically clear all these packages and freight that's going to come across from different parts of the world, and so it's going to be a very different dynamic. But the interesting thing about all this was prior to the pandemic, supply chains, nobody really talked about it or cared, really. It was the domain of the procurement manager, maybe the CFO at best. Today, supply chains are boardroom conversation, every boardroom. And so we have evolved our mission to make supply chains smarter for everyone. And we can do it because both the incredible physical network that we have painstakingly built over the last 52 years and the insights of the supply chain that we now have gathered through the data, because we're literally sitting on high-value supply chain information. Like you just said, we move $2 trillion worth of commerce every single year through our system, connecting 3 million shippers and 225 million consumers. And we are in the center of that ecosystem. So we have a lot of insights that we are now going to capitalize on.
What have you had to do within the organization to kind of prepare FedEx for this world where disruption seems to be the norm? We go through these periodic sort of crises in supply chains, different patches of the map each time.
Yeah, no, we started this journey back in 2020, and honestly, it was just about the time of the pandemic, not because of it, and because we realized the value of the data and the insights that FedEx has got. And so we started organizing and engineering the data about, and really over the period of time created a digital twin for FedEx. And that work we did not anticipate either the pandemic or what's happening right now or the advent of AI, none of this. But having this built out over the last 5 years, and with now application of machine learning, deep learning models, and AI and Gen AI, and of course now the increasing disruption, this becomes very, very handy. And so in some ways I'm fortunate that we began the journey, but now we are sitting on a very, very valuable set of assets, including the physical and the digital.
Can you turn disruption into a spur for innovation? Is this an opportunity actually to galvanize the organization, get change moving at a faster pace?
100%. That's in fact, during COVID, that was a spur for innovation. Now I think the requirements for customers who have, and I'll tell you an example. There was this customer who was making neon signs. They had 200 versions of neon signs. Before this, they Googled up the classification code, put it on those 200 different types, sent it across, and it cleared. Well, starting next week, they're going to need 200 different classification codes to get that across. And that only we can provide.
Right.
And so we have to absolutely spur innovation, but the idea is to make it so seamless for our customers that we integrate them on a platform basis, and to make sure that the business continues even in this complex environment. That's why I made the comment that before you could get away with basic algebra, and now you need advanced calculus, and we can do advanced calculus.
So give us the high-level view of what is the transformation strategy you're pushing at this 50-plus-year-old company now?
Yeah, I think the vision was to make supply chains smarter for everyone. I thought that was timely given everything that's going on, and that happens supply chain smarter for us, first of all, our customers, and then consumers. And the foundation of that strategy, first of all, is our physical network. That is very, very important. Everything else happens only because the fact that we connect world from one to the other every single day. So that's a given, and that's a big moat. Nobody else has got that kind of extensive network. So once you have that, then we are able to, we went through a big structural cost reduction program over the last 3 years. Our cost base was $87 billion 3 years ago. Now it's more like 81 in a period of inflation. That, a lot of those changes, majority, happened because of technological changes that we've made.
Where would you say that has come out?
Well, it's because of the technology that we use in our operational efficiency, making our supply chain smarter.
Okay.
Then our customer supply chain, we are now integrating our data directly with several big customers so that we are right behind their website, so to speak. Somebody orders something on their website, then we are able to pass on intelligence to say where you should fulfill that traffic from to get that traffic to you by Tuesday. And it takes into account weather conditions, traffic patterns. It's a deep learning model that continues to learn every single day. And the same token, that same infrastructure then allows the consumer, the final, you, me, everybody who buys these goods, much more predictability in when that package is going to arrive. So that's important for end consumer. It's important for healthcare companies. I mean, it's just, it's a workflow tool. So we are evolved into a different space over the last few years, and we're just getting started, by the way.
When we met over a coffee in New York, you sort of left me with an image in my mind of the journey of a parcel being fundamentally transformed by data, by automation, by AI, everything from, as you say, how you sit behind the, let's say, the retailer's website, the customer's website, to how you think about how many boxes you can fit into the back of a van.
Yes.
How fundamentally has the journey of a parcel changed?
Yes, that's exactly right. From the point of view, that same parcel that you're talking about, so from our point of view, how do we utilize our assets the most efficiently? From a customer's point of view, to make sure that that package is be departing from the right fulfillment center to arrive at the most efficiency. From the consumer side, extraordinary level of prediction. So what we have essentially done is taken this complex physical network, build a digital twin, and then on top of that, now we're applying all these latest in AI and ML tools, and to be able to do more things to make supply chain smarter. So it's, again, like I said, we have the infrastructure built out. We're beginning in the early stages of the journey. This I think is exciting as we move forward, especially in a complex world that's getting more frictionful.
Yeah. So we talked a lot about AI, talked a lot about automation and other technology. Where are you actually spending the money on technology right now? What's taking up most of your technology budget?
Yeah. So I think we are radically simplifying our technology. One of the things that I didn't mention as part of our history for FedEx, we are moved to an operate independently model that was in place for many years for a good reason. At the turn of the century, in the ground parcel business, this is not a well-known fact actually, that the ground parcel business, our market share was 10%. Our competition was 80. We were a 70-point market share gap, and now that market share gap is 7. And so this journey happened because of the operating model that we have. But with the advent of e-commerce, we needed to fundamentally rationalize our operating structure, and so we moved to what we call One FedEx. And the reason I went through that is to tell you is that we're going through a journey of radical simplification of our technology infrastructure. So that's what we are doing as well. While we're building these new things, we're radically simplifying our technology infrastructure. And we're also, putting in place structures for, some of the automation, robotics, whether it is, if you look at some of our hubs today, I mean, packages come in through one end of the hub and go out. It's a huge facility, come out the other side in a matter of minutes. And, it's completely automated. And, but then there's truck loading and truck unloading. So we are even working with robotics to see if there's opportunities. It's a very complex problem. Can you imagine trying to figure out how to load a truck?
It's like Jenga.
It's
really,
very much like that. So
three-dimensional.
So there's a lot of work that we're doing in all these fronts right now.
So what do these innovations mean for your 500,000 people? Is it?
Yes. So all these innovations are it's make their job easier. And some of the harder, difficult things to do, if we can have a machine to do it, then that just makes the job easier. So we think about this as working together to make our team members' job more productive and easier.
What have you learned over 30 years about how to lead a team of 500,000 people?
Well, this is it's a very important thing. This is why this is why I love FedEx, and this is why I stayed there for so many years. And we are a people-centric company. We are in a service business, and I think that the difference between our team members just doing the job, just enough not to get fired, versus going above and beyond the call of duty to deliver an outstanding experience, that's the difference between failure and success. And so culture is very, very important. And I travel the world constantly, and I lived in different parts of the world. It's kind of interesting. People ask me the question, how difficult is it to manage this widespread, and manage the culture? For me, the great news is the language of the country may be different, but the language of FedEx is really the same. And that's something we have built over time, bit by bit, and we're very proud of it. And it's just, it's an inherent competitive advantage that translates into better customer experience.
So I mentioned Fred Smith earlier. He's still chair of FedEx.
Yes.
Succeeding a founder is not always easy. How have you put your stamp on the company while also respecting that legacy and his contribution?
Yeah, no, I think it's just phenomenal. I mean, taking over a CEO is stressful in itself, but taking over from a founder is a whole other level. Not because of anything else, because of the accountability. And so I feel incredibly privileged, incredibly grateful that Fred, entrusted me with this responsibility, but also the weight on my shoulders is also that much higher. Because I say often that I can see far because I'm standing on the shoulder of a giant, I think quoting Galileo. And that's been the case. Working with Fred has been an incredible experience. It's not only CEO school, it's perspective on the world, on the history or geography or business in general. It's just an incredible learning experience. So we have formed a good team over many years. It was the right time for transition, especially as we move into this digital journey, and I think it's worked out just great.
All right. Well, Raj, we started by saying that you cover 99% of the world's GDP. I hope by the time we see you back here next year, you've got the other 1%.
We only don't go to the places we are not allowed to go by law. So, unless the law changes, I can't help you.
A lot is changing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. Thank you.